Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Is This an Important Question? Acharya Prashant with Delhi University 2022. So I haven't reacted to this guy in a little bit. I think I've done 2 videos so far. I thought I'd throw him in this rotation again real quick. So let's look at the disclaimer. This video is aimed to bring peace, clarity, and understanding to one's life. It may, however, in spite of all of our care, sometimes have an unnerving effect on the mind of a few listeners. Hence, it is advisable those who are under 18 of age, or have cardiac or psychiatric ailments, or have any other relevant conditions that might get triggered upon viewing, must either avoid this video or exercise all due cautions while watching this video. It's very odd to have that kind of disclaimer. Although I will say, even it's Prashant Advait Foundation wish all viewers peace and wellness, and will not be responsible for any kind of harm or loss to the viewer. Let me try to get back to what I was thinking of. It seems like we tend to live in a more and more sensitive society, and that is, in my opinion, a problem. While I understand there can be some people out there who can get triggered, and it could be very well be legitimate, but I think the best way to handle it is by slowly taking in or experiencing what you're having traumas about. Slowly, obviously. But there are people out there who claim to have traumas and they don't really, but I don't know how to describe it. They claim to have traumas, but they don't like it. They're offended by it, basically, and because it's offensive, they don't like it, and they're claiming trauma, when in reality it's not. And I fear that society gets worse if they are unable to handle criticisms or hear the other perspective and an unopened mind, because that's what's going on for the most part where I live. Well, not where I live, but and just in society that I live in. It's kind of scary to think that people are so close-minded because they don't like the other side's point of view and they're not willing to listen. That is terrible. Let's go ahead and watch the video. Good lord.
So my question is, so whenever straight backbone is very necessary for anybody's spiritual growth. Whenever I try to make my backbone straight, I fails after not more than half hour. I am unable to do that. So what is the solution for this?
I mean, that's weird. Let me try to guess the solution. Here's what I would say. I mean, it's kind of like running or exercising. You're not gonna run. You're not gonna be able to run from the one side of the country to the other in one day. That's going to take time. You do around a block, the end of the street, the end of the city, the end of the country, not country, the state, or whatever you live in. You slowly grow your capabilities. So. But if you find yourself never growing past like 30 minutes or an hour, like you said, even after a long period of time, you may want to consult your doctor about that for sure. It could be something else more serious. But yeah, I mean, again, slow increments of doing it longer and longer. And if you see that you're no longer growing, maybe consult a doctor to see maybe there's something else. There might be something hindering you from doing it for a prolonged period of time. It could be a very serious issue.
You're asking the wrong person, mate. I have never focused on having any part of my body straight or something. Even at this moment, I really do not know the shape of my backbone. I'm not focusing on my posture at all. All I'm caring about is having a certain posture that enables me to be committed to you in the maximum way possible. I'm not at this time concerned, worried about my body at all. There is something far more important I must attend to, and that's what I'm doing. So I do not know whether backbone and such things are important. To me, there is something else that's far more important, and if you are focusing on the backbone, let me ask you, how will you know whether the backbone is a perfect perpendicular to the horizon, to the horizontal surface?
So when we stand, I think.
When you stand, are you sure the backbone is exactly perpendicular to the horizontal surface? Is it? Because an absolute 90-degree angle is anyway never going to be possible. And if that is what you demand for your spiritual growth, you'll always find yourself lacking.
Yeah, and obviously that's not something you just focus on. However, I guess having good posture will allow you to, if that's very important to the guy, to probably stay in that state a lot longer. However, Prashant is correct here that that's not exactly the most important thing. You're gonna be sitting there. Eventually, one day, you're gonna be able to have like, you're gonna be sitting there in the meditative, not in the meditative state, but a meditative position for 36 hours and realizing that you were just focusing on your back and not actually focusing on meditation. But that could be very well a good focus point to focus on your back and then to kind of release that focus into nothingness. But I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure that is. I've heard some people say that is one meditative method is to focus on a sound or an object or an image in your mind to block out everything. Then once you got to that point, then try to not focus on that one object, sound, or image in your mind.
Sometimes you might come close to being orthogonal to the surface, let's say 89.9 degrees. But even that is not a perfect 90 degree. I'm not asking you to slouch or have a curved backbone. No, that's not the advice. I'm not advising you to have a distorted body posture. What I'm wondering is whether this is the most important thing to talk of, whether this is the most important question in the process of spirituality. So these are in my opinion and experience irrelevant questions. Yes.
I'm so sorry for this, but in yoga and asanas and that. Sorry, sir, for this. I'm very sorry. Yes.
What are you sorry for?
You said that these are very relevant type of questions.
Asana and all are good for health. I do not denounce them. So, be it asana, mudra, pranayam, they are good for health, and a good body is conducive to spiritual well-being. I fully well agree, but I also know that that is not the central thing or the most important question. If you will keep practicing your asana and the other things that you do in yoga, hatha yoga, you can practice till the dawn of your life, and practice will never come to an end. That practice is not the goal of life. The goal of life is something else. Yes, obviously having a fit body, a healthy body helps, and so with that end, if you want to practice your yoga, it's all right.
I like that answer. Something that said Guru has said, but he what is it? Basically, the purpose of living life is to live life. Absolutely. Sitting there practicing all these meditative things isn't exactly living life. However, there are. I'm not exactly sure what these things are for. I can have kind of an idea. Although I do know that living life is living life, and that's what you're supposed to do. And these meditative states or yogas are meant to help you live life. So do them, absolutely, especially if you need them, help you focus in life, to separate yourself from suffering in life. So you're separated from suffering and you're able to focus on living life, and that you're not hindered by irrational emotions or the, how else do I say, the only thing I can really say, suffering of life is literally all encompassing of everything bad in life. So it'll help you separate yourself from that, help you see clearly through all these hardships so that you can hopefully tackle these issues in a proper manner so that it's not overwhelming you. A lot of people get frustrated because they can't think clearly and trying to solve the problems, even though if they just take the time out. A great I forgot who said it. It was probably the lady that I reacted to. Is it the lady? Anyways, someone said that I can't remember his name, but anyways, he said he had a very long day ahead of him. So instead of my normal 30-minute meditation, I need 1 hour, basically to prepare himself for the arduous day ahead of him. Perfect example. Even though you have a lot of things on you, maybe you need time to just kind of stop what you're doing, clear your mind, have a clear mind, basically meditate to have a clear mind so you can think clearly on what you need to do, how to tackle the task and everything on hand.
Sir, another question is, in Gita, Lord Sri Krishna said in 18.66, chapter 18, verse 66, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajam aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshishami ma shujaya. Sir, he said that abandon everything or every dharma and surrender unto me alone. I shall liberate you. I will give you moksha. So, sir, does it mean that we have to surrender everything and surrender on to Krishna alone and do his devotion, and he will give us liberation and nothing is necessary, only devotion will do everything?
Let me see if I can answer this one too. Again, I just want to see how much of my my learning and my journey through this has stuck to me. I would assume you should not just give up on life. No, or in some sense like that. You should always do your dharma. Who you are as a friend, a husband, a wife, or whatever it is, you must continue that path. But yet you can still devote everything, bhakti yoga, to Krishna. Do everything for Krishna. Do whatever it is your job is, do it for Krishna. Devote it to Krishna. But that doesn't mean that you give up what it is you're doing in life. No, do it for Krishna. And anything that you need in life, just let Krishna handle the whatever it is. But again, do not give up your post. Do not give up being a friend. Do not give up being a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter. And do not give up being the IT manager of your job, or a salesperson, or whatever it is. That is your dharma. You must do that as well. You do not give that up. But you can still devote your actions, your doings, your good deeds to Krishna.
Quit all small goals and focus only on the mightiest goal possible. That's what he's saying. Sarv dharma means all your small goals, your small duties, small responsibilities, they are not worth anything. Mam ekam sharanam vraj. Focus only on the one real thing. Devote your life to one mighty cause or end. Get rid of all the small distractions and desires. That is the import of this verse.
And sir, in Brahma Samhita, they says Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Kevalam Kalo Nastya 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 Gatiranyatha.
Exactly the same thing. Exactly same thing, nothing else. Nam here refers to all the names and forms that appear to you as desires. Right? All desires have a name, right? Have you ever desired something without name and form? So what is being told is that everything that you desire is petty. Desire the highest, the ultimate. Mamekam sharanam vraj. And same thing has been repeated endlessly by various years in all forms possible. उमा कहूँ मैं अनुभव अपना.
And Acharya ji, my another question is, how much time we should give for dhyan or puja in a day?
All right.
I'm not I've heard that word before. Is that like a prayer or a meditation? Have again, I'm just curious as to how much I know. So clear, I don't think I got the answer one completely right, but I think I got mostly right. But I wonder if it will say like, you should devote some time to the day. And it's up to you how much time you think you need. But always some time is needed for it. Devote as much as needed, but always devote some time for it.
Let's say I say 8 hours. What will you do with the remaining 16?
We gotta sleep for the other, well, at least half of that too.
What will you do with the remaining 16?
And the work 8 hours and sleep 8 hours.
8 hours is impossible for.
Even 8 hours is impossible? Even 8 hours is impossible?
For puja is impossible, I think.
You asked them though,
Puja of the kind that you practice obviously can't do it for 8 hours. And real puja, 8 hours is too little.
Oh.
Similarly, for real dhyan, 8 hours is very insufficient. Dhyan and puja, they have to be continuous. They have to be 24 hours.
Whew.
So how can we?
I guess he's saying you can't at
First
that
time in
point.
the conversation, there is a pause in your mind, right? You are prepared to pause and listen. Good. How is it possible? With the kind of things that you do, it is not possible at all.
You have to
The
devote
kind of
yourself.
dhyan you practice, the kind of notions and knowledge that you have, it's not going to happen. Are you listening to me? This is dhyan. But the books you have read have never told you that dhyan is a simple thing. It has to be very ordinary. It has to be present in all conditions at all times. Are you right now devoted to understanding? This is puja. Hello, Mr. Pujari.
Wait, did Dandapani talk about this? About... I've heard these, at least puja, I believe. I've heard that term before, but I don't quite remember, because it's only been said very few times in the videos that I reacted to. Oh, wait. Well, it's saying 24 hours. It must be done for 24 hours, and it says you can't do that. I think puja, is that basically a way of meditating? And that's what Dandapani was talking about, how, you know, you meditate a little at a time, and you try to incorporate meditation throughout the entirety of your day while you're doing something. It's possible. It's very difficult, but very possible, I think. Again, this is something that requires a very highly focused mind. And when you get to that point, you can pretty much, I think you can live without suffering. You can separate yourself from emotion to some degree, at the very least, when you get to that point. Is that what it is?
But you have been told that unless you are offering flowers and fruits and incense to the deity, it's not puja. No. If you need to have a deity in front of you, a material figure in front of you, to worship at all times, then you'll not be able to worship for too long.
Oh.
Real puja involves being devoted to the highest within.
And no matter what you do.
The highest within is the peak of consciousness. When you at all times want to aim at that, I want to be as conscious as possible, that is worship, puja. And therefore puja and dhyan are one.
Yes. Yes.
Acharya ji,
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna rewind that real quick. Strangely enough, I thought about this. I didn't even think I thought about this until just now. But it's dealing before I even reacted to any of these videos and before I knew about Eastern philosophy. It's a sure fact that it was my thoughts on Western religion or Abrahamic religion. Where do you need to go to a church to talk to God? Do you need to go down on your knees and pray at the edge of your bed to talk to God? It's like it doesn't make sense. He should be there. He should be there always with you, always listening. And what he basically said was, in a sense, I wouldn't say contradiction to that, but the opposite of that, where your devotion is always there. It's not, you don't just devote yourself to God when you go to church or when you're praying in bed. No, that should be an everyday thing. I didn't realize that's what I was thinking. I mean, I wasn't really thinking that, but it was in some similar sense, which was very interesting.
Acharya ji, I have a follow-up question. May I ask?
Yes, please.
So you told about consciousness, and you also told that a thought is materialist. It is a material thing. So how can we find the difference between what is thought and what is consciousness?
Ooh, wow, okay. Okay, that's actually a good question there. Whoa. Hold on, let me rewind that one. And I was laughing because I don't know if how many questions they're permitted to ask him, but it sounds like he's asking way too many questions. You only get 2. He's already asked, this is the 4th question, I believe. Which I appreciate the fact that he's allowing. Again, I don't know how many questions he is permitted to ask.
May I ask?
Yes, please.
So you told about consciousness, and you also told that a thought is materialist. It is a material thing. So how can we find the difference between what is thought and what is consciousness?
Let me see, from what I'm trying to recollect my understanding. So looking at Advaita Vedanta along the lines of the Atman, Brahman consciousness and the Atman. The Atman illuminates the mind. The Atman is the one that is shown thought and shown thought actually. And it's the one that says, I like this, I want this, I will do that, I won't do that. The mind merely presents the thought. But in the world today, I think for the most part, the Atman and the mind are inseparable. They are looked as one and the same. There is no such thing as Atman for the most part in the world. Because no one realizes this. They think the mind and Atman are, there's no Atman, it's just the mind. Which in my opinion that's where my opinion is at, where it's the Atman itself, let me put it this way, is in the mind. It is a section in your mind. I don't know where though. So our brains are not just, it's not one big thing. It's not like well, the heart actually is multiple things too. There's a couple of different, the heart has multiple different things that it does. It's not just one thing. It pumps blood, but there's the blood that comes in, goes out, and in different ways. So it's a little bit more complicated than just pumping blood. It pumps blood specifically. The mind, our mind, has different things that it does. Controls the temperatures of your body. One side of the brain controls the other side of your body. The other side of the brain controls the other side of your body. So our brains are segmented many different ways. And I believe the Atman is somewhere in the brain, just we don't know where yet. Kind of like how we discovered how our brains, the medulla oblongata, or the I can't remember other parts of the brain, how we discovered these little tiny things in the brain that we never knew before until science recently discovered it. And that's my thought on the Atman itself. Well, eventually we may find it. I don't know for sure. So, to answer his question, in terms of how I believe is that the thought and consciousness are in the brain. The thought, it's very similar in terms of Advaita Vedanta and my thinking. It's just where the Atman is located. So the thought gets presented to the Atman then answers the question, whatever the thought may be, and then it goes out to be done, whatever that may be. So the difference in mine is the Atman's in the mind, and in the Advaita Vedanta, the Atman, Brahman, pure consciousness it's shining through everything, being illuminated by everything, and it is illuminating the thought and answering the thought. That is my answer to that.
They are the same.
Whoa.
The consciousness that
Was not thinking that. I figured thought and consciousness would be separate. I would say they are both materialistic in my point of view, but in Advaita Vedanta, consciousness is not material.
that we have is very thought based.
Hold on, let me rewind it. Sorry.
Consciousness that we have is very,
Find the difference between what is thought and what is consciousness.
they are the same. The consciousness that we have is very thought based.
Okay.
Therefore, you require attention. Attention uplifts consciousness. Thought is a mediocre level of consciousness. Being unthinking is a low level of consciousness. Getting it? So, we as human beings mostly practice a mediocre state of consciousness. We are thinking beings, but that state is, however, superior to the state of animals who don't think at all, or to the state of human beings who don't think much.
I'm going to make an assumption here. Let me know if I'm wrong or right. He's basically saying there are different levels of consciousness. There is Atman, the true pure consciousness, and then there's the consciousness that I was talking about a little bit earlier, how most people think that our consciousness is in our brain. And that's the kind of the low level of thought consciousness. Not the true consciousness, but the
Attention is superior
what we know as
to
consciousness.
thought. We said it uplifts consciousness. Right? So the more attentive you are, the higher is your state of consciousness. What does it mean to be attentive?
Awareness.
To be attentive is to continuously remember your condition and therefore your imperative, your dharma. Your condition is of bondage and your dharma is to move towards liberation, to act in a way that challenges your bondages. Remembering this continuously is attention. When you remember this continuously, then you cannot patronize the frivolities of life. You know who you are. You are somebody in distress. You are somebody in chains. How can you allow your precious time and energy to be wasted away in trivial things? You are suffering, and all you want is freedom from that suffering. This is attention. To want freedom continuously, always.
Thank you, Acharya ji.
Okay, definitely not the answer I thought he was going to say. Interesting way of putting that. Continuous liberation. Did I must have, hold on, did I get Dharma? I thought I got Dharma. Oh my gosh, it's pulling up a movie. Nope, it's movie still. Sorry. Dharma. Moral duties. Okay, religious or moral duties. Yeah, I thought so. So, your dharma as a soldier or whatever. It's one of 4 components. The right way of living. Law, cosmic law. So I guess there's could be many ways to, in dharma, right way of living, maybe your duties as well. I do like the way he put that. It's a bit different than what I thought he would have said. Consciousness and thought. I would have never thought him to say that those two are one and the same, considering that he said, according to what the questionnaire said, that thought is in a material plane. So how do you say, what's the difference between, was it consciousness and thought? He says no, they're the same. I'm like, whoa, I was like, what? Sorry, because at least as far as my my learning has brought me, is that consciousness is not material. And again, Swami Sarvapriyananda states the hard question of consciousness. I googled it. I haven't really read too deep into it just yet. I definitely need to, though, for sure. But yes, I would have thought he would have said those are different, but maybe what he's expressing here is what people think of consciousness when without the separation of the body. So the low level of consciousness, maybe, perhaps, where the consciousness of our mind, where the mind and consciousness are one and the same, which is what I think most people think of, and for me it is in a sense the same. Again, the Atman, or the consciousness, is in our mind. We just don't quite know where yet. Everything in our mind, everything in our bodies are material. Thoughts are material, emotions are material. It's all chemical reactions in our brain, endorphins, and I can't remember what the pain one is. I don't think I know what the pain one is. Although you get adrenaline when you're in the fight or flight mode. So again, just all these chemicals in our body that can become irrational, especially when certain aspects of your body is not reacting appropriately. You can get endorphins very easily compared to some other people, or maybe you get the adrenaline when you walk across the street. People are wired slightly differently, but generally speaking, most people are wired normally. Anyways, so it was a very interesting video from Acharya. Okay. I definitely want to do more again of his. I'm gonna continue as I do the rotations, as I go through all the teachings that I can go through in the video request. I will definitely get back to him. I thought this was a weird one. It says, is this an important question? He kind of drew me in on that one. Important question. You know, what else can you ask? It's an important question. So it's like, you got me. Hook, line, and sinker, as they say. Anyways, that's my reaction to, is this an important question? If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.